without further ado, my name is Hayne Beatty Gray. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the admissions manager for the traveling school, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina. Um, I love working for the traveling school because I love bringing this opportunity to as many people as possible. I think that place-based learning and global travel makes all of us better for it when we have the opportunity to do so. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mary Reed.
Hi, I'm Mary Reed, or Mary Reed Munford, but I go by Mary Reed, good old Southern double name. Um, I am the academic dean. I'm also a former traveling school teacher in Southern Africa and worked in admissions as well. I'm currently based in between Knoxville, Tennessee and Atlanta, Georgia. Everybody else on the traveling school staff is in Bozeman, Montana. So don't be too confused, but I saw somebody here is from Chattanooga. So if you ever want to talk about the traveling school over coffee, let me know. I'm often traveling through. And what I love most about the traveling school is just place-based education. It just makes, I've taught in traditional classrooms, I've taught in very experiential ones, and it just makes so much sense to teach and learn how to intellectually and emotionally process, examine, and ask questions about the world around us. And it's so fun at the traveling school to sort of make that into an academic exploration.
Awesome.
And tonight we are excited to be joined by two of our very recent alumni. We have Harper and Piper here, and their families. So thank you so much to the Bradshaws and the Urays. And should we, let me have you all introduce yourself in a second. So we're gonna have your slides and you'll introduce yourself, say where you're from and all of that in just a second.
Oops, sorry, jumped ahead. There we
Yeah, so our mission is that the traveling school amplifies student voices through transformative education to ignite positive change. And this is just what we're all about. Our education is anchored in learning how to become a transformational leader, learning how to gain the confidence to take action in the world and to both feel strong in yourself and then strong in how you interact with your communities around you, your small communities like your friends and family, and your larger communities like the global citizenship that we hope everyone embraces after this.
And our vision is guided by our mission, and our vision is supported by our mission. One of strong, compassionate leaders capable and empowered to build an equitable and sustainable global community. That is our vision. That is what we endeavor to do from the moment we meet your students at our departure city throughout the 3.5 months that they're with us. And we do this by cultivating collaborative, inclusive learning spaces that empower young people whose voices might otherwise be silenced on the basis of gender. That picture. So the traveling school is an inclusive all-girls semester program. Hopefully you have learned that, and that's what brought you here this evening. We work with students aged 15 to 18, and we have 2 semester locations. We travel to Southern Africa in the fall, to Zambia, Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. And in the spring, we head to South America, where we go to Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. We are a technology-free experiential learning program. We believe strongly in that and the gifts that it gives teenagers today away from technology. Yeah, so that is in a nutshell who we are, and we'll get to the meat of why we're here to hear from our students. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce first Harper. Harper, if you would unmute yourself. Harper's from Newburyport, Massachusetts, and just finished a month ago our Southern Africa program. And Harper, if you could, I'm gonna first ask you to talk about that picture because it's awesome. So tell us about that picture, and then I have some questions for you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Harper, and this was in Cape Town. So you can see in the background, that's Table Mountain. So we climbed that like 2 days before this one. This was like a nice afternoon hike that we went. And I remember we did, I forget what class it was, but it was like a sunset hike, and this was like it's just such a pretty picture. You can see like half the city on the left side, and it was just like a sunset picture. We packed our lunches and ate dinner at the top, and then it was just super fun. But it was like probably 2/3 of the way into our trip, and that's me on the left, Marley in the middle, Maddie to the right, and then Ashlyn to the far right.
Awesome. Um, Harper, why did you choose the traveling school?
I chose a traveling school because I felt myself like really, I knew I wanted to do something different. One of my siblings went to a semester school as well and just said it totally like changed his perspective on learning. And I felt myself kind of like falling into a lot of the slumps that a lot of students I feel like fall into. I've always gone to public high school, and I just feel like I was not excited about learning. I had never like known what that really truly felt like, and I just felt like not like lecture halls, but the teacher standing at the front of the classroom, just like talking to you the whole time, taking notes, and then having to take tests. Like it just got so repetitive, and it turned like I was learning to get a good grade. I wasn't learning to learn what I was like the curriculum. And the place-based learning really um, spoke to me, and it really got me excited to learn when I was on the semester.
Awesome. Thank you. If you could pick one, can you share a favorite moment from the semester?
Um, to be honest, I think I chose this picture because I think you can see all of our smiles. Like, well, there's a lot of pictures of all of us smiling, but this was I really enjoyed this hike. Or just this day. I loved Cape Town so much. It's just such a beautiful city. And if you guys are going to southern South America, I'm sure y'all will like experience these places that like you love and then some that you don't love as much. Just I mean, it's really hard to be like, oh my God, I love this place when it's 112 degrees and the sand getting like hit in your face and there's sand in your eyes. But Cape Town is just one of the places where it was just such a beautiful place. And I know I already talked about it, but this is probably one of my favorite memories.
Awesome. Um, this next question is kind of now that you've been home for about a month, could you reflect back on maybe your biggest takeaway from being away for the semester?
Yeah. That's like such a hard
I
question
know it's a big
because
one.
I probably my biggest takeaway is I struggled with dealing with emotions before I went and not allowing myself to feel things because I always thought that like me for instance, I've never gone through anything that's been like totally changed my life or that's been really hard, and I've just always thought that to be strong you couldn't feel things as much. And both of my mentors, I don't know if y'all know this, but you get, or maybe it'll change, but for us, we had two mentors halfway through the semester it changes. And you talk like your emotion, you go through how you're feeling. And in the beginning, once my mentors were like, "How are you feeling?" I'll be like, "Oh, I'm good. How are you?" And they're like, "No, no, 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 no. Like, you actually have to like tell us how you're feeling and stuff." And I was like, "Oh no, I can't do this." Like, um, but by the end of it, I like really opened up about things that I like didn't even know really affected me. And I think that probably the biggest lesson to like sum it up is like you can be strong and have emotions, and like even when you're not totally always 100% okay. You can always get through things. Because I feel like a lot this semester, like the bonds you have with the girls are so strong because you all go through so much hard stuff. And it's different for everybody. I dealt with homesickness a lot because it's really hard just to know how far away you are. Um, but yeah, the connections and like circles, like when you really share like deep moments and stuff like that. And again, like in the beginning, I was like, I didn't know like what to say because I was like, I don't know, I'm doing fine. But and they're laughing at me because they know that's true. And I don't know if it's just how I was raised or whatever, but that was the biggest moment. That was the biggest thing that I learned that like even when you are okay, you can be going through stuff, and that it doesn't mean you're not strong to go through things and to feel things. I don't know
Thanks.
how to word it. Yeah.
No, that I think, you summarized we're complicated beings, and you can still be okay and have a myriad of things going on
Yeah,
underneath
of
to
course.
clear out and acknowledge. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Tell us about this picture.
This was on the salt pans. That's Savannah Nelson. And I got really close with her throughout the semester, and that was us. I think that was in Botswana. That was probably like a month in ish. And it was just it like felt like Mars. Like it honestly felt like Mars. You just look all the way around. We drove on safari cars for like 2 hours to get here, and like you just look all around, you just did not see anything. It was our whole group and then like two couples, and we totally ruined their trip along we totally ruined like another cruise. I think it was supposed to be like a booze cruise, and TTS shows up and Leslie's in the front like teaching science, and these people are like, oh my god. But it was really fun. We had a fire at night, and we like did classes all around a fire, but it was just such a beautiful trip. And then we talked to like the people there with, and they're like, oh yeah, this is our honeymoon. We're like, oh, oh shoot. But it was really fun. It was just such a beautiful place. And then sunset and sunrise. Because when we slept out on the sands, and when you're camping and stuff like that, you kind of wake up when the sun comes up. And it was so beautiful. But that was Savannah and I. Yeah.
So is that sunrise or sunset?
I think that was sunset. I think.
You look pretty awake, so.
Yeah.
Um, okay, thank you so much, Harper. Now I would love to speak to your folks. So Dana and Josh, if y'all want to just quickly introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Dana, and I am Harper's mom. Yes.
I'm Josh, and I'm Harper's dad.
Awesome. So I have some questions for y'all, but for those of you that are joining in to learn more about the school, if you think of things that I don't say, you can pop your questions in the chat, or we can have we'll have Q&A at the end of this as well. But what drew y'all to the traveling school, and why did you think it was a good fit for Harper?
Go ahead.
Well, Harper has an older brother, and last year he did this same program, but with a different school in the semester program. He went to Leadville, Colorado, and he had a really great experience there. And we, put it on the table for Harper, and she immediately was like, I don't want to do the same thing that, Caleb did. And she wanted to do something a little different. And so we looked at all the options, and she zeroed in on the traveling school, and she loved the idea that it was, the learning aspect of it, and that it was all female, and that it was a small group. And not to lie, I was kind of nervous about the whole thing to begin with, but very nervous, but it was her choice, and we wanted to give her choice. Caleb her brother was able to kind of choose his, and we wanted that same option for Harper. And I love that this is, that she jumped into it, with both feet. And she was nervous too. I mean, we were all nervous because it's super far away. But yeah, I mean, those were kind of the premises, and we just sort of we just went with it. We had a lot of calls with Mary Reed and with Jennifer and, you know, a lot of the people there in Montana, and just for, you know, self-assurance and, you know, understanding what the whole program looked like. And it was good. Yeah.
And I will say we never like fully understood what the program was until we were until I was there and they were like dealing with like the phone call every 2 weeks. They're like, oh. But
Yeah, I think it was not, I think it was always presented accurately. I may have just interpreted it how I wanted to hear it.
like blocking certain things.
Yeah, for sure, which I did.
And me too.
I
And
would say this real quick in regards to reference to my son doing one of these, and he was able to go with us and spend some time in South Africa, and he was green with envy, even though he had an amazing experience. He said it multiple times. And you know, if he had had the opportunity to do what she had done
And been a girl,
they would have been, yeah, they would have taken he would have taken that option. And again, he had a terrific experience in Colorado, but that's the case. It was, I just filled out the survey. Sorry for doing that so late. And one of the questions on there was if you could change anything on this with this program, what would it be? And my response was, don't change a thing. It was absolutely a fantastic
Yeah.
experience that will, you know, just so happy that she could have this in her life. So amazing.
uh, that's incredible to hear. And I was going to mention that y'all were both able to visit her while she was on her semester. And maybe if y'all could briefly share a highlight or two from traveling school in action, because it's rare that families get to see it on the ground. And yeah.
Yeah, it was you know, it might make me cry thinking about it, but it made such an impact because again, going back to Caleb's school, our son, we were able to visit him in Colorado, but everything was super familiar, like it was the States. It was, you know, sort of the same thing. We didn't really know. I had never been to Cape Town. We had talked to a lot of people about it going into it, but just, you know, didn't really know what to expect, and didn't know what to expect when we saw Harper, because we knew that she had been experiencing a little bit of homesickness. And we were a little nervous to see her, scared that she was going to say, you know, oh mom, I just want to go home, you know. But in once we got there, that was not the case at all. I think one of the highlights of getting to go and see them in action is just really to see how committed they are to each other, to the program, to their teachers, to accepting, you know, their environment and the change and the learning all around them. And just seeing the girls so connected. You know, there were 11 of them on Harper's trip and 4 teachers, and I think they all, you know, loved each other equally and respected each other. And just to see them in action, and just the bond and the, you know, relationships that they all formed was super. I mean, I wasn't sad at all when we had to leave her, because I knew she was happy. I knew she was safe. I knew she was, you know, learning and growing, and she was going to be home in 4 weeks, you know. So it was, I feel super, super blessed that we were able to go over there and see her and the other girls. Hi, Piper. It was nice to, you know, it was so super nice to I loved seeing all them, because on the calls, I'd hear Harper talk about the names, and, you know, I'd go back and look at pictures and see who everyone was. And we did meet everyone briefly when we took Harper to, you know, departure in DC.
oh my
but
God, that was terrible.
that was a whole another event, which didn't know what it was going to be like going into, but it was so awesome, you know. So so it was just so nice to get to see some of the girls, and it was we feel really, really lucky that we got to be a part of it, and also take our son to see, you know, something that Harper got to do, and is going to help form the rest of her life, really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks y'all so much. And we'll have more questions for you, I imagine, at the end, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna hand it over to Mary Reed to introduce Piper.
Yeah, so hi, Piper. Piper is from, you're actually from Camden Hills, May?
Yeah.
Are you from Rockport? Okay. I know it's
Camden,
kind
yeah.
Okay, Camden, right. I was at your high school earlier this semester. Yeah, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so Piper, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and then say what brought you to the traveling school?
Okay. Hi, I'm Piper. I think what brought me to the traveling school, a lot, like a few kids from my school had done the program previously and had just said such amazing things. And there was actually an info night at my friend's house. Um, and Jennifer spoke there, and Chloe, she went on the Western US program. She also spoke. And my mom and I got in the car after that kind of info and hearing about it, and we like looked at each other, and my mom was like, "You're gonna go there, like you gotta go." And I think a lot of people on my semester kind of shared that they didn't have a good relationship with school or didn't love their high school. And I think for me it was different, and I really do like my school, but I think I did want a little different experience. And I really liked that it was all female. And I also applied to HMI, but I think one of the big things that kind of pushed me towards TTS instead was the fact that it was all female, and I just wanted like kind of the opportunity to an experience of learning in a fully female group, and kind of the small close knit group that Harper talked about. Um, and yeah, I think just I've done a few smaller programs, like just like a week long like summer camp or something. That's really small group, and um, I don't know, I really valued those experiences. And I think I wanted to do something a little bigger, similar to that, where you're kind of just like slowing down and working in your small group and just living together. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm glad you kind of brought up that, like, we do have quite a balance of students who either, some folks are like really looking to get more out of school than their school's offering, and some people come and love their school. They're just looking for something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so tell us a little bit about this photo.
Okay. This was also on the day we went to the salt pans, like Harper was talking about. This was on the drive there. We stopped, and there was this meerkat colony. Um, and we just stopped and kind of sat in the big field and kind of let them come to us. And then our guide, he was like, "Oh, they can go on your heads." And we were like, "What?" And at first our teachers were like, "Oh, no, no, like TTS policy, like you can't touch any animals." And then we were like, "Wait." And I think there was Arden realized something, and she was like, "Wait, this is an exception to that." And we all got to like have little animals on our heads. And it was so fun. But yeah.
Yeah, we have like, some kind of strict safety policies around things like stray dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like at a controlled environment, a place we were really familiar with. That's awesome. And then what do you think your biggest takeaway is? Oh, yeah, right. First, explain this photo, and then maybe what you feel like your biggest takeaway is so far. You're only really 1 month out, so I know it's
Yeah.
probably hard, but
It's tricky. So this photo was we were on our way to Swakopmund in Namibia, and we were driving from very hot area, and then we were going to the coast, and we were just driving into this massive fog bank like on the ocean. And we hadn't seen the ocean on semester yet, and we just looked over, and there was these like three guys on the side of the road selling crystals. But beyond them was like this big shipwreck that you can see in the back. Um, and there was just like this kind of parking lot, and we pulled Big Blue, our big overland truck, into the little parking lot, and some people got to buy crystals, and then we all got to put our feet in the ocean, and we were just so excited to see the ocean. And that's Ashlyn next to me. Yeah, and that was super cool. I'm trying to think of my biggest takeaway. I think that I come from a really small town, and that can feel like a kind of a safety bubble a lot of the time. And I think just the whole experience of like going out of that, and seeing a different part of the world and just kind of having my perspective changed a little bit, and then coming back into my town and kind of seeing how that's changed how I like participate in conversations with my friends, or maybe care about different things now than I would have before I went. I think that's been my biggest takeaway, is just like seeing how going out and seeing a totally different part of the world, a different continent, different countries, like that, how that's just changed my perspective coming back home.
Thanks. That's awesome. All right, so now we'll bring in your parents. Darby and Katie, thanks so much for joining us tonight as well. And I just threw in a couple extra photos of Piper. Um, how did y'all get on board with the traveling school? And I really appreciate the Bradshaw sort of sharing some of their sort of nerves around it, because that's just normal and real. And of course, so sometimes I think it's really helpful to hear. How did y'all get interested, and why was it a good fit? I guess, you went to the open house, but
We did, yeah. Piper definitely wanted to do a semester program. She felt like she wanted an experience beyond what the local high school was
Like since
was
middle
offering.
school.
Yeah, she'd been talking about it for a long time, and I will say that I appreciated that she had that desire, but the programs that I knew about were not programs that I felt particularly excited about sending her to, quite honestly. Like it just felt a little bit like like a boarding school. And so anyway, we went to, but I didn't want to stop her from looking. And so she just kept talking about it and heard about the traveling school through Chloe. And we were invited then to the open house at the Pierces. And Jennifer shared about the program and the philosophy. And by the end of the night, I was 100% on board for a semester program. And then we were like, okay, how are we going to pay for this? How can we make this a reality? Because it just seemed to tick all the boxes for me. It was an experience that we wouldn't have, just exactly what she was saying, that she took from the experience is what we dreamed of her taking from the experience. Opening her mind to the broader world. We live in a beautiful place, but it feels often like a bubble, and wanting our children to have a global perspective. And it just seemed like with the small group, the tech-free environment felt really valuable to me as well. It was another thing that seemed to tick a box. The fully female felt like an important piece to me. I had 1 year of high school at an all-girls high school, and just seeing the way that 1 year shaped me, I wanted her to also have that experience. Yeah, I don't know, am I leaving anything out? It felt like a great fit. And so then we kind of had to dive into figuring out how we could make it a reality. I was sort of on the other end of I didn't have a ton of anxiety about her going. I was really just wishing I could also go.
yeah, that's a common thing.
I will say though, because I'm also a teacher, and so at the open house, I was listening to the whole thing and thinking like, oh, maybe I could teach on this. And then they showed the sample schedule for a day, and I was like, oh no, this is for a 20-year-old. Way out of my league. And they do attract the most amazing teachers. Piper was so thrilled, and I'm sure the Bradshaws would agree. We got to meet them all at the the DC send off, and I mean, just meeting them and seeing how much skill they had in facilitation, in teaching, how much thought went into the safety of the girls while they were traveling. That, I guess that was a bit like you're sending your kids off to a different continent. And um, at the parent orientation, we got to see a little bit of how they created safety words around their travel materials. So they never would say passport. They would never say about their money belt. They called them popsicles, or they had other code words.
Somebody, my friend the other day asked me for chapstick, which was our code word for like, if you ask for chapstick in public, it means you need help. Like somebody is somebody. And I was like, wait, what's going on? And she was like, what? And I was like, oh, never mind. Here's my chapstick. Like,
That's so funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I just felt really impressed with the program all around.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, Katie and Piper did almost all the background. I certainly looked into it, but I wasn't able to attend the open house. And I hadn't actually spoken with any of the parents of the kids who had gone to do other TTS programs. But it was a leap of faith based upon all the information I was getting from Katie and Piper. And yeah, I certainly had some trepidation about the whole going to Africa, first Yuri to go to Africa, you know, like we really had no good idea of what this whole program was going to be like. And so, you know, I'd ask questions and they would find some answers and I would do a little research myself. But, you know, as things kind of neared, we were in the summer months and things were getting real before the fall semester started. And it was just one thing after another with TTS, like showing the background, the expertise, the knowledge, the thoughtfulness all the way through that.
Right,
you know,
with all
it
the
just,
checklists and everything, making sure we were so prepared.
and it just built confidence leading up to the departure. And I didn't get to go to DC and meet the teachers and send Piper off, but you know, I felt very confident by that point in time that this was a really well-run, well-thought-out program. And then throughout the whole semester, they just continued to meet every single expectation or concern or worry that was popping into anybody's head in our house, and making me feel sure that this was an amazing experience and it was a safe experience. So yeah, it was really great.
Thanks, Darby. And it is a huge leap of faith as a parent. I have 3 teenagers and who have also gone away for various programs, and it's a huge leap of faith, and we appreciate that so much, and really lean into the relationship that we build with your entire family throughout the process. So thanks for sharing, y'all. So now I'd love to open it up to questions and answers from folks zooming in. We can have, I think we can just unmute if you have a question and ask it out into the ethos. We're small enough. Oh, sorry. We answered all of your questions. It's great.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you for the mothers for sharing your nervousness about letting your child go across the big pond to a big country so far, far away. Julia is our daughter. She's not here tonight because she's actually wrestling right now. But she is a junior this year. We live in a small town in Tennessee. She has had the same group of kids since she was in Mother's Day Out, pretty much. She's looking for something different. She has been able to attend a really great school, and they've done some experiential learning. She loves that most of all. But I think I'm curious to know the girls that are presenting tonight. Are you all juniors, or what year did you attend the semester school?
Piper and I are both juniors, and there was, oh my God, wait, there was three seniors on the trip, and then the rest of us were juniors. But the program's designed to um to accept, I don't think sophomores are allowed to, but juniors and
Okay.
seniors, and it lines up with curriculums that the program the curriculums are like really flexible, and hopefully, like, I know for me getting home now, my guidance counselor has been amazing with trying to like match the courses, but I think for a senior and a junior, I've heard like really good things. And I know if for other people, for seniors, they did go through the college process, which is a little stressful, first time seeing a computer in a month, having to apply to colleges and stuff like that, but it for sure was manageable for them. But there was a good mix in both seniors and juniors.
Okay.
And
That's
just to
good to
jump
know.
in, we also do accept sophomores. So we have sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
It just depends, yeah, each semester.
All right, thank you. We've looked at some other semester programs, and she won't qualify for a lot of them because she is going to be a senior next year, and some of them do. They just want the mostly juniors, it sounds like. So this would be different for her.
While
I'd
we
say-
have our mic open, I have a question. I'm wondering about, I think it was Harper who mentioned, or one of y'all mentioned being sick. And I wonder about how the medical availability of medical care and first aid and that sort of thing is on the trip.
I can speak topically to that, and Mary Reed can go in further depth because she was actually in the field. But we have wilderness first responder certified teachers. We also are part of an international network of medical care. And so we take that incredibly seriously. For first line of defense is our teachers to triage it, and then we can escalate it up from there. But Mary Reed could speak to more specifics of that.
Yeah. So, it happens at some point each semester, something happens where somebody's got to go to the doctor, whether it's just, stomach sick or whatever. Yes, currently we use a program called International SOS, and they help us locate the best clinics nearby. Or if it's something bigger than that, they help us. They're also like, they can facilitate emergency care and make sure that we're getting the best treatments that we can in the nearby areas. Our teachers also go in with a list of that. Like this spring, we're getting even more proactive, and we're going to have a list from International SOS of medical providers in the area. And then so our teachers are trained to be able to recognize when they need to ask for help or when they need to take someone to the doctor. And they're always communicating with us. We communicate with parents if students ever have to go to the doctor or anything like that. And then and then the other piece of it is a little bit about how I think Piper was talking about, we train them in some safety and some self-care, and that helps you. Because part of being a traveler is also trying to figure out how to keep yourself not only safe, but also healthy when you're moving from place to place and traveling a lot. And like Harper said, the teachers are checking in with you, and they're going to ask you how you're doing, how you're feeling emotionally, how you're feeling physically. Like they're really, lovingly in your business.
We just had the personal experience with it. Piper got an infection within the first week of being in Africa, and they were right on it. That was one of the things that impressed us so much. I mean, they just They took care of it. They enabled her to have an extra phone call home because having an experience like that so soon after arriving was a little nerve-wracking. And so she was able to have just a quick phone call home to check in. But yeah, the home office called us to let us know what was going on and set up a time for us to be able to talk with her. And it was just all handled really, really well.
Yeah, I'd like to jump on that and just talk a little bit about how thorough everything was in the preparation side of things, and that, like, the advanced scouting that goes on prior to the uh, the schedule being laid out, and the existing relationships which TTS has had for many years with many of the folks on the ground there that are actually um, doing the part transporting the kids,
Like
or
different guide systems that we used in places that we stayed.
and it wasn't, they weren't new to them, so they knew what to expect. Their repeat business, if you will, but it was very clear that it had gone far past being repeat business. It was sincere friendships that the folks at TTS had developed with these leaders, or these people, the driver in particular, and the chef and such. They just, I mean, there's this sense of, there's a real bond there. But anyhow, aside from those two, but just that feeling, that comprehensive feeling of like, they have investigated everything that needs to be investigated as far as safety, security, everything that you want as a parent. Yes, you're going to be giving your daughter away for 3 months to go to this really neat spot, and it's far away. But we did feel like they had done everything that they could do as far as being thorough. So it was when things did come up, they had an answer and a plan. Additionally, seeing the four teachers, they were so just so conscious of looking out for the kids, but also at the same time teaching the kids how to look out for themselves and to function as a team in looking out for each other.
And I want to say something to that. So TTS has been going to Southern Africa and South America. So they had like obviously different relationships, but they had the same, it'll be the same for both semesters because they've been going back to those places for so long. But it was nice. Well, we were the first semester after COVID, and it was so nice. Like our Piper will know what I'm talking about. But when we went to the DRC in Namibia, Katrina, one of the women, was like, "Oh my gosh, we missed you guys so much," and they were like, "We haven't seen you in like 3 or 4 years or whatever," and we are like, "Oh my god, I've never met you," and my teachers had never met her or whatever, but they're like, "Oh my god, we missed you too." Like it was just like the relationships that they have with people are really strong and make the trip what it is, and it's the same for South America trip. I think.
It is. Yeah. Thank you. No, I love hearing that because that's so true. We have folks in South America that are so excited to like see the traveling school again, even though it's, going to be 20 different humans or whatever. Yeah, we love being able to go to the same places again and again.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, I want to be mindful of people's time. If you have not, if you're just kind of leaning into the admissions process, I just wanted to let you know that our priority deadline is February 15th. We have our application is on the website. There's a $25 application fee. Just reach out if that is prohibitive for you. We can work together. We've got no essay questions on the application. They're short answered that allow us to get to know you a little bit better. And then we get recommendations from a teacher. It could be two teachers, or the second one could be a mentor or a coach or an employer in the community. We ask for your transcript and for and for you to connect with your school counselor just to make sure your school's supportive of of you being away, and that the curriculum lines can line up with them. And we also use the fax platform for need-based aid, and that is also due on February 15th. Having wrestled with that one myself, it is cumbersome, so we encourage you to get in there sooner than later if that is something you're going to utilize. And I'm going to put up, reach out to us with any questions, and we're happy to, before you submit an application, if you have further questions and want to talk one-on-one and drill down on a specific thing that is of concern to you or of deep interest and you just want to know more, we're here to answer any and all questions. It is, as I said, a big leap of faith to endeavor to send your child, or to send yourself if you're a student, to go away from the comforts of home and kind of dwell at that learning edge for 3.5 months away from what is familiar to you. So we want to handhold you through the process and are here to answer anything that might come up for you. If you had questions that you didn't get to ask today, you can email me there through admissions at traveling school. That is my phone number on the bottom of the screen. Feel free to text or call me at any time. If I'm not available, I won't answer, but I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. So don't worry about it. If something comes up on the weekend and you want to reach out, do it. It may take me a day or so to get back to you, but just ping me. Yeah, so I just really appreciate both our alumni family and our prospective families, and those who are just seeking to learn more about us, for being here tonight. We appreciate.
Yeah, just to add on one more thing, if you would like to be connected to an alumni family, you're like, hey, I had some questions, but I'd like to ask them directly, or questions come up and you would, we're more than happy to put prospective students in touch with alums, or prospective parents in touch with alum parents. So definitely let us know. Sometimes, we get as specific. Sometimes it's like, well, I'm private school in San Diego. Do you have anybody that has gone through something similar? And sometimes we really have. We have almost 200 alumni now. So we're happy to, connect you with the right person there too.
I did that, and she helped. I had a Zoom with with a previous student and an alum, and it really eased my nerves. So I suggest that, and I'm sure Piper and I are open to it, and or any other person, but she really helped me. So
I talked to her parents as well.
Yeah.
So
Suggest that.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all, and we will have we'll have more webinars as we get. I think we have one more scheduled this month, and might have one next month before the deadline. So just if there's something else that piques your interest, pop on, and otherwise we hope to hear from you soon, and stay curious, and we're excited that you're here.